Hey, welcome to the Takeover. This is Takeover Sports Draft Day. Draft Day. Now, I may seem excited. I've been waiting for Draft Day because all this regular season playoff nonsense, especially for the guys. I'm not for all that because I'm a realist. There's a couple people out there that aren't realists. They kind of seeing how
homers.
They haven't seen that right now. The makeup of our team is not going to be where it needs to be for us to get what we want to get. But I skipped the whole intro and everything because I got so excited about it. I'm your host T-Wil, the People's Coach. This is Bold Barry,
the boldest man alive.
You already know. So today we're gonna talk about draft talk. We're gonna go over some of the news that's going on. It's crazy right now in the NBA. We'll get to that a little bit later. We'll start off talking about some of the top draft prospects, and then get into some of our sleeper draft picks. Some of the people that no one's really talking about. That we kind of like in this draft. It's a deep draft.
It's a pretty talented deep draft, I must say.
It's there's a lot of players in here. I don't feel the word superstar gets thrown around way too easily, so I'm not going to use that. But I feel like there's a lot of potential all-stars in this draft.
Talent's good. Yeah, talent's a good way to describe it.
I feel like a main issue with a lot of these prospects is the fact that they have the talent, but consistency is some of the issues.
But that's because the guys are young, though. Remember, these are 19-year-old kids, 18, 19 years old.
You're right. A lot of them have, everyone, no one's perfect, but a lot of them, they have their strength and weakness. So, okay, let's start off at the top. The main guy that had a lot of buzz around him, but then he kind of, fell off. Lonzo, he came in before the draft and the combines even started. He was highly touted. We already can look at him and tell he's NBA ready. I'm not gonna sit there. I'm not gonna knock for that. We know he has the ability to perform well. We just want to see him on actual court. Mm-hmm. But it seems like with him doing workouts or whatever happened, probably some people could say it's his dad. He just kind of went. He's fallen in the draft.
Seems to be the case for a lot of the top tier picks right now. Between Fultz and Ball, seems to be the case for both of them.
Yeah, but I feel like Fultz' issue is the fact that he's not playing well. I don't know. I don't think Lonzo's not playing. People are kind of realizing okay, he's not. The hype is over. He had a lot of hype at UCLA, but Fultz' situation is he played well his regulars during college, and then he's doing these workouts and dudes looking at him and he's not doing the things that he was doing when he was in college.
Right.
I don't think that's Lonzo's issue. But some of the weaknesses with both, even though Fultz is kind of a well-rounded player, I'm a Fultz guy. Granted, I don't think the Celtics, we traded that pick, so we're not going to get him anymore. But I was a Fultz guy. But it seems like his weaknesses, he still needs to work on his defense. And things like that. And with Lonzo, I think you can kind of harp on some of his weaknesses, but I think his defense needs a lot of work.
Defense, jump shooting, playing against the higher tier guys. Because for me, I wasn't personally impressed with Lonzo Ball, especially with all the hype that was around him and everything. Because mainly obviously because of his father and everything, saying that he can be on the Warriors and bring it to the championship. Whatever he said, I can't really quite remember exactly what he said, but either way, I wasn't impressed because of what I saw. What De'Aaron Fox did to him during that whole game in the tournament. I was just like, really? All this hype? And that was the matchup to look forward to, too, in the tournament. And it wasn't even a matchup because it was one-sided, if you ask me. So that kind of hurt his stock a lot for me. So I'm just like, all right, who's Lonzo Ball for real at this point? And then on top of that, with these stories coming out with the workouts, he's not in shape, he's breathing heavy, or he's not ready to fully finish out workouts. But then when he goes, I guess wherever he works out, I don't know if that's his backyard or wherever gym that he's going to, where they had the scouts and everything come and watch him. That's just a red flag to me as far as your dedication and your work ethic and everything like that. But only time will tell. Once again, these kids are only 19 years old, so when they get into the league, you develop, and that's why we base it off of really potential and everything versus what you see what they do in a college game where half the players aren't the best players in the world. So
my thing is De'Aaron Fox, people are starting to get hype on him now. I watched him during the season, and you could just tell that my only knock with him.
Fox.
My only knock with him, he needs to work on his body because he's too frail. That's my only thing. I was like, because I used to see him during the season. My dad used to pick him out. I was like, Dad, he's too small. He's gonna get in the league and eat him up. But you could tell he has everything around him that he could, if he gets his body bigger.
which comes with training and everything. You know, all these things are gonna come when you get to the league too.
You're right.
You know,
So,
unless
I mean,
you just don't want to work out.
But like you said, just like I don't know if you've seen recently, his dad pulled LeVar Ball.
Oh, I seen that.
He came out and said, "My son killed yours." Like, what's the conversation?
Which is facts though. And that leads into my guy to really watch, even over all the top picks, is De'Aaron Fox, because based off really, I didn't watch too much of him in college, but I watched his workouts and I watched that last game in the tournament. For you to be putting up like, what was it, 39 points? Mm-hmm. You know, to cook up the top 2 guy for 39 points, I think you need to go watch that guy, because he had more
and defense.
Right, and he had more of like that NBA attack ready game versus Lonzo Ball. Even though they have kind of 2 different games, he's more aggressive on like the offensive end versus Lonzo, wants to more facilitate and get everybody else involved, which they're good on both sides. But for me, I like in today's NBA game, I really like the attacking point guard versus the facilitator, because I feel like that's almost as if like you're a Rondo, you know, the Jason Kidds, like the old school standard point guards. And who knows, Lonzo could bring it back, you know, and have that be like the typical facility or typical point guard position for years to come. But you can't determine that right now based off when you had the Steph Currys, the Dame Lillards, you know, the Russell Westbrooks in the league.
What those guys
it's a lot
need,
different.
Just like what Rondo had, you need guys around you that can kind of fulfill that offensive role. You know what I'm saying? If your shot is not going to be at a higher percentage, you need guys around you that can shoot at a higher percentage.
Yep.
So Lonzo, whatever situation he's put in, but to my whole thing, I've been on record. Depending on the team that De'Aaron Fox goes to, I think he's gonna have a better career than Lonzo. You know what I'm saying? That's just me. That's my. Real. I think he's gonna have a better career, depending on what team. You can say that about a lot of people, but I just depending on what team he goes to, he just has it. You know what I'm saying? And for a dude that every time you matched up with him, he cooked you every single time. You got to look at that.
He already came in stating too. Sorry to cut you off, but he already stated too that he wants to go at Lonzo every single time they play. To shut up his father, which is an obvious given, which is probably what a lot of people's MO in the league is going to be when Lonzo steps on the court, which is just a known fact. LeVar set him up for that. And also, like, he's just literally ready to play. Like, he's been screaming that he's ready to go off on Lonzo all year long. Like, it's just crazy to me. So I'm loving the rivalries that are kind of being built in the draft too. Like, there's a lot of there's a lot of high competitive young guys and a lot of friction, mainly because of LeVar. I had to say LeVar brought all this to the draft out, and that could be genius, you know, because it could kind of up everybody else's game.
Or it could get his son cooked.
And kill, you know. And,
I don't know.
We'll he might not get that Rookie of the Year, and, you know, we're going to be sitting there and looking at LeVar like.
Time will tell. I'm trying to say he need to go get that Converse or whatever. Fila.
No.
He can't get that no more either. His father set him up. So let's move on to, we talked about kind of the top prospects. Well, 2 of them. Actually 3 of them, but let's go into the whole debate of, okay, the Celtics now, we have we got the Sixers' 3rd pick, we got the 3rd pick in the draft. Outside of the trade stuff, it's the debate, okay, if we keep the pick, we're looking at Tatum or Jackson. I've been looking at our page and just on social media, the debate of who would you rather have, Tatum or Jackson. For me,
I'm going Tatum.
I like Jackson. I like Jackson's all around game. Tatum's more the scorer.
That's what you need as a Celtics.
In terms of a 2-way player, in terms of having a little bit of both. Granted, Jackson needs to work on his shot a little bit more. I know he needs to work on the offensive side, but he has what, you know what I'm saying. He has it. I don't like. It sounds that's really like vague, but he has it. Tatum has it too. Tatum could be probably one of the better picks in his draft, but it just looks like. What do you want? Do you want the offense, or do you want the all around dude that can be the project, that can be like and has a higher ceiling, you know? And like you look at dudes, not in comparison, but you look at dudes like the Jimmy Butlers and the Kawhis who didn't come in with all this offensive talent, but you know they worked on their game and came in with the all around tools and built their game up to what they are now. So Jackson could be like that. So. You said you're rocking with Tatum? I
mean, recently, because I was watching NBA TV the other day. That's like my favorite source for, you know, all the news and everything for the NBA. And they were, you know, kind of interviewing and watching Tatum and how he works out and everything. And I just like the way his game looks. And I saw the highlights on Josh Jackson. Like, he's an athletic wing. You know, he plays D. But the offensive side, I think he's like, 56% from the free throw line or something like that. Like, you know, his free throw percentage is pretty awful if you ask me. And I mean, you know, we know what happens when players go to the league. They don't really virtually really improve on their free throws, so you don't want that. You know, on top of that,
Unless
it's
you're
like,
Blake.
huh?
Unless you're Blake Griffin.
Well, yeah, unless you're Blake Griffin or even sometimes LeBron, you know, throw a little shot there, boom, boom, shots fired. But, you know, going back to Tatum, I'm definitely choosing Tatum because he just has more of a swingman's type of game for me, you know, all around than Jackson does. Jackson looks more one-dimensional as opposed to, like, he's more versatile. Like, he can't shoot, you know, and the Celtics, this is a three-point shooting league, too, you know, so if you can't shoot even the mid-range like that or the three-point, what are you really going to do? You just as valuable as being like a good role-playing wingman, you know, especially if you're a top pick.
Yeah. So, okay, so we kind of covered those guys. So let's kind of go over some sleepers, some dudes who aren't really talked about as much in this draft. Two names that come to my mind, Dennis Smith Jr. He's one of these dudes. He has the talent to be one of the top picks, but he's just not talked about as much, you know. He has the talent, has the tools to be. If we had this conversation 5 years down the line, he's one of the best players out this draft. I would not be surprised. Like he has those offensive, basically all around offensive game playmaker. He needs to work on his defense and consistency. Sorry, just like a lot of these other dudes. But he could be in the top 5 conversation and is not. You know, and another dude that I like that I've been watching all season, Bam, big man from Kentucky. You know, I wanted, if he could fall to the second round, and this is just this dude I've been watching. If he fell to the second round, which I know he's not anymore, I would have loved the Celtics to pick him up because he seemed like he's one of those workhorse dudes. You know, like Tristan Thompson type that just gets it done, and he's athletic and whatever. So I'll pass it off to you. Like who you have your eye on, like sleeper in terms of in this draft?
I had a few sleepers. I'll just do, I'll mention 2 and discuss 1. So, I've been hearing a lot about the guy Giles from Duke. Mm-hmm. He had a lot of potential, and I've been reading that, he had a couple of ACL surgeries and everything like that, and he missed a couple of games and everything, but his potential is through the roof. I don't know too much about him, but just based off what I've heard and everything, I can see that being a sleeper pick because, guys like that, you can look at a Derrick Rose and everything like that. He could be either that before or after the knee injuries. I can compare it to that. But the guy that I'm really looking forward to seeing is Malik Monk, who my prediction to him, he's probably going to go either to like the Magic, Kings, or the Knicks.
Those are all great situations.
Right, especially because he's a high like volume scorer. Mm-hmm. He can shoot off the dribble. His three's not too bad.
He reminds me of what J.R. Smith.
See, I was gonna say he reminds me more like a Jason Terry a little bit.
I think his game can expand further than that.
Right.
Remember when J.R. Smith was on the Nuggets?
The Nuggets,
and they were like, "Yo, he can be
like a starter, but he was always a six man."
Yeah, that's what I think Malik Monk can be if he gets himself together.
As a sleeper, I put it like if he goes on to the Kings, he can change a situation like that. Or if he goes in New York, I know that place is a disaster and a circus and everything like that, but they need a fresh start anyway. So if they draft a guy like that to kind of turn the franchise around, he just seems like he has that New Yorker type swag anyway. So I wouldn't be surprised if he got to one of those teams. But the Knicks are also interested in the French point guard. I can't pronounce his last name, but his name is like Frank Nikitalenka or something like we that.
Laugh, but then they drafted Porzingis. Everyone was
exactly, and it was nice.
So and I can't even laugh because Phil might know something.
He might know something and see talent, but he
has to know something.
He knows something because he was saying like that the dude has good defense, a good perimeter shot. He's very youthful, so you never know. But he reminds me of Dante Exum, and that's just because of their similarities in length and everything like that. But those are the sleeper guys, and I mean,
you said that got me depressed. Cause I expected a lot from Dante Exum.
Hey, he got hurt last year though, so injuries. Change things.
But, so I know we're about to wrap this up, but let's touch on what you think about one thing that stuck out to you about these trades and all these trade nonsense.